Hello and welcome back to another episode of Life Changers, and this is Mike. Sorry it's been a while. I know I say that a lot. I'm Canadian. I apologize for everything, even if we don't mean it. But a lot has been going on, and yeah, it's pretty crazy to a lot of the things I've been learning and doing and experiencing. So I'd like to start off by apologizing. I've been lying to you this whole time about this stuff. It is true. I'm so sorry. Is this clickbait? I don't know. But no, I've learned a lot. There's actually a book out there that my sister told me I should read, so I did. Well, you know me, I don't read it, but I listen to it on Audible. We are not sponsored by Audible by any means, so please do not think I am. And if Audible is listening and wish to sponsor us, please let me know. You can reach me at lifechangersmike@gmail.com. That's lifechangersmike@gmail.com. Oh, man. But, yeah, like I said, a lot has been going on. And I've been listening to this new book. And I will tell you the title here in a bit there. But I just wanted to say like what's been going on and stuff like that. Because I think one of the last things we talked about is how I'm going to manifest 2.5 million. Oh, you guys want to know what happened? Huh? Do you? I don't have it yet. But there's two reasons why. And I realize that, like, even though, like, I have all this knowledge and information and I'm trying my best to live the law of attraction and doing all this amazing things and stuff. But I just realized by reading this book that I've just been kicking myself down. So first thing I realized is with one of my companies that I launched in 2019. So before 2020, summer of 2019. And I mentioned it many times. And, you know, in 2020, throughout 2022 and so on, it's been crazy busy, okay? Like we do a lot of shipping and all that because a lot of communities in Canada, northern communities in Canada, were like locked down. No one's allowed in or out and stuff like that. And with this new adventure I started for non-commercial accounts, so just for like individuals to use our service. So, you know, just for a nutshell, like if they live in a far enough place like Iqaluit or Nunavut or something, and they try to order diapers from Walmart. Well, the shipping, I guess, calculator minimum now, it used to be 150, but now it's 250 to ship that way because it goes by plane and all that stuff, right? So it has to go by courier to the plane, to up there, from there, to so on. And it's really expensive. But the last 20 years of my life, I've been building networks up there and communication thing with people through all my commercial accounts. So I was able to have a network where I can get stuff up there for very cheap. So that same box of diapers, let's say, that would cost them $250 to ship up there. Well, it would cost me to ship to them, which would charge them $50. And stuff like that. We ship it through the airlines, transportation companies, and so on and so forth. So it's just a nutshell that, like, it's a service that I offer people. So I always say, oh, I want to help people, right? Well, this was my way of helping people in the sense of I figured out a way to a lot of these areas that cannot get cheap shipping, or a lot of these companies do not ship to that area. So they would have to, you know, buy it from either fly down and buy it themselves and fly back, or fly or drive if the ice roads are open, or if they have connecting roads, to like 2 days to get the products and go back. Or they can get it shipped to this third-party company, similar to what we are, but then they bring it up, and then it's like just crazy expensive. So I was like, well, this is how I think it's a good company, right? And so I did that and joined, like, you know, from 2019, it was slow going. 2020, it started picking up and going crazy by that summer. And then, you know, as you heard the stories, now that I moved from, you know, doing it at one location into the trucks until we got this location. Now we have 2 locations up here and in Ontario, Canada. And it's just been great. And, you know, they can shop. They can go on, Amazon, Walmart, or whatever. And normally they'll say that, like, when they put their address, oh, we don't ship there. Or, oh, we do, but it doesn't fall under Prime, or it doesn't fall under free shipping. So you have to pay. It's crazy. Like, there's this one company I've just been fighting with a little bit. So, like tires, I have a commercial account that needs tires for some of their fleets up there. So I negotiated with a company, got tires, and they said, oh, yeah, we ship anywhere in the province of Quebec for free. Cool. So I give them the address. And it went through. I paid for everything. And they're like, yeah. Then they call me back 2 weeks later. Yeah, we don't ship there for free. We can't ship there at all. It's too expensive. It's like $100, $200 a tire to ship up there. I was like, okay, well then how come you don't ship it to me? Like, they're like, oh yeah, okay, what's the address? I give them the address. And then they're like, oh no, it's like $200 to ship. So $50 a tire to ship that to you. I'm like, but you offer free shipping anywhere in the province of Quebec. I'm in Ontario. It's not that far. I mean, you were going to pay probably about, $25, $30 a tire. And that's how much it costs to ship it to me. Anyway, I was just like, whatever. So I said, look, I'm going to send you some labels. You ship it. I pay for the shipping. It only costed me like $45 a tire to ship it to the Arctic, which they said it was going to cost like $150 to $200 a tire. Anyway, so just where there's a will, there's a way. But yeah, like, it's a great company. It's amazing. And then when we got crazy busy, we were getting like 200, 100 packages a day, plus all the commercial stuff. So then I was loading my truck every 2 to 3 weeks and trucking up there. And it takes 2 days to get there, 2-3 days of deliveries, 2 days back. So I'm gone for a week every time. So I'm gone for a week, home for 2, gone for a week, home for 2. And this is where I started sabotaging myself. And you guys can relate. Anybody who's listening can relate to this. But, anyways, I started sabotaging myself in the sense of going like, getting angry. Oh, it's so full, the truck. Like, oh, don't people understand? And like, they should order more in advance if they want it on this load. People are getting like, oh, I want it on this load. Well, hey, you pay right away if you want it on this load. Like, and I got it all full. You got to wait for the next load. And sometimes I would do like a trip, come home for 2 days, do a trip, come home for 2 days, do a trip, just to get rid of all the backlog. And then like the warehouse was full. Like, I'm not even joking. It was so full that my kids would run around and go hide and play hide and seek in it, and you couldn't find them for a long time. And I mean, it's only like a 2,000 square foot warehouse. But yeah, like the kids were hiding and having a great time. And I was like, oh, it's so full in here. And, just subconsciously getting upset with certain situations. And, oh, it's so busy. And, oh, we can't do this. And by putting all that in the universe, right, it's stating, well, I don't want this. So, and I used to say a lot too, I'd be like, this is because of the plandemic, whatever you want to call it, right? This is all because of that crap that's going on in Canada and like all the lockdowns. So they're not allowed to leave, hence why my service is becoming, and we're one of the only companies that were delivering. We were delivering people's groceries because the main companies have been doing business with them for the last 20 years, delivering groceries to their grocery stores and everything. Said, no, we're not doing it. This is the time people need you, and they're like, oh, no, thanks for your business for the last, 20, 30 years, but screw you guys. So then we picked up the slack, and we started delivering groceries to people's homes for them so they could have food, water, the necessities of life. Because everybody's like, no, we're not going up there. I'm staying home. Like, this is crazy, right? And I'm like, people need us now, so let's help them, right? So we stepped up. And then what pisses me off subconsciously and well, like whatever pisses me off is, after all that, they all go back to the normal routines. And, when they needed somebody, we stepped up. Now they don't need us. It's back to normal, and the hell with you guys, right? And I'm like, bastards. But I know this is by my design. Because I used to say, oh, it's only because of the pandemic and all the lockdowns that people are using our service. Later, it'll be slower and more normal, right? But I don't live normal. I'm always amazing at what I do, and I want extraordinary things to happen. Like I told you before, my accountant says that's impossible to invest and get that kind of return in your first year, or it's impossible to do this with your business, right? When I started that brand in 2019, everybody's telling me it's impossible. Drain all your assets, all your money. And then, boom, very successful. The only reason why I'm draining my assets or losing money is if I decide to, and that's the way I live. And yeah, I have nobody to blame. I can't blame anything saying, oh, well, right now it's the recession in 2024. That's no one's spending money. They're spending money because they need food. They need things. Everybody's spending money. I'm still spending money. Everybody's spending money on stuff we need or think we need or things we want, like better computers, TVs, so on and so forth. So it's all BS. You create what you create. And here's one thing I learned about this book. The main thing. He dumbs it down, okay? This book was written in 1910, okay, over 100 years ago. And I'm telling you now, I feel that everybody that talks about all this law of attraction and whatnot are all using this book as their base or some version of it. I guarantee it. That's my feeling, and that's my reality, so I'm right. Too bad. But like, seriously, check it out. You could agree with me, okay? And I grew up, even like I grew up in religion, as you know, and I was told this, you know, Mike, if you think of doing bad things, therefore it's a thought, and that thought will eventually turn to action, which will turn into reality, because then you're going to want to do that bad thing, right? So, you know, if I wanted to watch pornography, right, that's a big no-no in my religion growing up. And it's like, if you think about it, then you're going to desire it, and that's going to become a want, and then you're going to become in reality, and you're going to end up watching a pornography or whatever, right? Porno, stuff like that, right? That's big taboo in my religion. Oh, no, it's the end of the world. You're going to go to hell if you do that, and stuff like that, right? I'm not saying it's good or bad or anything. Like, everybody live your life, do your thing. I don't really care. But, you know, it makes sense, right? And everybody in the world says, and here's a simple thing. Think about it. Everything in this world, everything you're looking at, the microphone I'm talking into right now, the device recording I'm using, my laptops, everything I have my essential oil machine here. Ooh, misty, nice, beautiful, right? All the LED lights, everything. Everything in this world, everything around you starts as a thought before it brings it to reality. So therefore, if a thought can become reality, anything is possible. So I put the thought that I want the $2.5 million. So I'm going to make that my reality. And I know what you're saying. Oh, you know, once again, I'm making it sound so easy, right? It's not that easy. Once you have the thought of designing a computer or a cell phone or something, then you got to figure out how to make it work and then bring it to reality. Okay? So you can't just be like, I'm going to wait for things to happen. Here's a joke again. I've said this many times on my podcast. I'm saying it again. You know, everybody likes money, right? So, there's this guy, and I'm sure everybody's heard this, but if you haven't, hey, it's a good laugh. There's this guy who's like, I lost my job. I need to win the lottery. And he prays about it. Lottery comes and goes, doesn't win. My family's leaving me. I need the lottery. Thank you, God. Nothing happens. My family left me. I lost my house, live on the street. I need the lottery. Nothing happens. Why did you forsake me, God? How come you're not allowing me to win the lottery? And then God comes down and says, hey, man, at least meet me halfway and buy a ticket. It's true. We expect everything just to be done for us without us doing things. So by reading this book that I've read, it kind of clarifies everything and dumbs it down in such a way where it's like, duh, right? Nothing is as complicated as it sounds, right? KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. That's a good motto. Keep everything simple. Things aren't as complicated, not as like, oh, crazy as it makes it sound, right? It's as easy as you have a thought of what you want to do. You have that thought. This is what you want. This is how you want to execute it. Or, you know, I'm putting that thought out there. This is what I want. And as opportunity comes, I'm going to start doing it. So, me sitting here in my office going, I want my company to be back to 200 packages a day. I want this. And I just sit here doing nothing about it. Well, no, I got to start advertising. I got to start picking up the phone. I got to start doing this, doing that, right? And do my part. And in this book, I love this guy. So I read the original version, 1910 version. They have an updated version where it's like more our lingo, our language. But this was like straight, the original wording, everything. And one of the things he says is, you are like, not stupid, but like, I mean, this is our term. You are very stupid if you think you do not need money or you do not want money. And he talks about how, like, back then, like, you will be programmed to think money is bad. Rich people are bad. So subconsciously, you're not going to want money. But that's foolish, because everybody wants money, and you deserve the money, and you deserve to do what you want to do with the money. Luxury food, luxury outings with your family, whatever you want. And there's plenty of money. There's no lack. And he talks about business, how easy it is to create lack and then make more money as a business, right? And he talks about like how everything happens the way it needs to happen, but there's one difference. And he also states in his book, you are guaranteed to get rich by following his steps. Okay? Only book he's like that guarantees to be successful and rich if you follow his steps. And that's all there is to it. He says, like, it's that easy. But if you don't follow, it's your problem. And he talks a lot about business. He goes, if you own a business, the mindset that they're going to push you to do is competition, right? And you probably heard me talk many times about competition in my business. Oh, there's this other company doing this and why they, poor me, right? But he goes, doing business out of competition and making as much as you can and ripping people off will make you money for a while, but it'll not make you money forever. And eventually you'll drop. Look at all these huge companies all over the world that's dropped, that were successful. Like in Canada, Sears, gone. Zellers, gone, right? All because competition. There's plenty of business and opportunity for everybody to make money. So in my case, with the transportation thing and the shipping thing, yeah, I have like a competition up there, but I should not wish them ill or anything. There's plenty of money for them to make, for me to make, because I couldn't handle the whole entire show. They couldn't handle the whole entire show because during the pandemic, they couldn't handle the whole show. So we started putting trucks on the road because they weren't keeping up. They couldn't keep up. They were crazy. And then they're like, we can't deliver this, we can't deliver that. And they're months and months behind. And then we're just boom, 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 let's go, knock it out, get it done. We need another truck, boom, get somebody in that truck, let's go. Like these people need it, right? And yeah, it's amazing because so for me, with my companies, I used to be like, oh, everybody's competition, be your own competition. I just had a business meeting with somebody and I'm like, yeah, be your own competition, man. Yeah, you have this company on that end of the city. Let's do something over here in one of my warehouses and be your own competition. You're going to be making money no matter what. Who cares? But like, there is no competition. You got to start your company and whatever that you're doing, if you want to start a company or anything, but there's no competition. Here's an instance. I know people in my life that live the competition in life, and they don't own their own company. They work for people. And there's always something like, oh, well, everything's competition, and then this person doesn't like me because I make them look bad, right? And that's the reality they're creating. Before you know it, they're going from job to job to job. They're never happy in the jobs they have. Look at me. I had everything I wanted. I was busy. Money was flowing with this new brand I started. And it was going crazy busy. And I was grumpy and like, oh, right? Poor me. Look how busy we are. I've been working 16 hours. Oh, poor me. Now I got to go drive and for a week, and I got to do all the unloading. And it's minus 60 up there, and it's cold on the ice roads. Poor me. Blah, 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 right? Well, now look, I have nothing. I go up maybe once every other month. Before I was going up like 2-3 times a month. And, packages coming through used to be like 100, 200 a day. It's a lot less than that now. And that's my fault. I have nobody to blame. You got to take responsibility for your actions. You have nobody to blame. Just like people, like today I was talking to one of my employees today. And he was saying like how he talks like to people and they're like, or he was watching Family Feud. And one of the questions is like, on a scale of 1 to 10, how many people hate going into work on Monday? 1 meaning low and 10 meaning high. And he was like, well, 1, 2, right? Like if you love your job, like whatever. because you're earning money to do whatever you want. But most people are like, 7, 8, 9, like hate it, right? And it's amazing to me because I was just thinking like, okay, if you didn't have a job, you'd be crying that you need a job. Now you have a job, you're crying that you have to work to make money. Like, be happy. And that's what I'm learning. I know I talk about it, but you truly just got to be happy with what you have. You hear me talking, you could probably follow my thing from the beginning to now. How you hear me saying like, well, like give me all this money. How come I'm not really making millions right now? So I can help people. I could help people, right? And here's the thing that the book talks about. He goes, not to sound like I'm a bad person or something, but these people asking for money all the time for this organization to help these people, this organization to help this and this, their whole business thrives on lack, and they need these people to have nothing for them to be successful in their company. So they are creating, with the law of attraction, lack in the universe and all that to keep their business growing. That's what they need. They need lack. They need, just like for the police, their job's to keep crime down and stuff. But if there is no crime, then there'll be less police, less jobs. So therefore, they kind of subconsciously create lack that, there's a lot of crime, there's a lot of this, right? Subconsciously, right? It's not like they're out there doing crime or creating it. Hey, go shoot somebody, right? But like with law of attraction, they're thinking like there's a lot of crime. I see the crime all the time, and that's all they're living is crime. They could always see the bad in the world. Just like these places, these companies, these organizations asking for money for this and that, or help this, help that. Well, by you giving them money, you're agreeing that there's a lot of lack out there. But there isn't. There is no lack in this world. There's plenty for everybody. We've just been programmed to believe that there's lack. How many years have you heard all the time these different things over the years? And you can Google whatever if it's not censored in your country, like things are in Canada. But you can Google things like back in like the 1950s, there was another global warming thing or global cold or whatever, or fuel crisis and this and that. But we have everything we need in this earth. We have so much renewable energy, renewable this, renewable that if there's any lack, it's artificial lack. Because there is. I choose not to live in a world of lack. In my world, I choose abundance. And in that book again, he's like talking about like, if you need something, and let's say you need for your business a sewing machine and you need the best of the best. Well, and you put that in the universe will be like, well, there's this guy and he lives in Japan. He manufactures this and it's the best of the best. So then he will end up in your area for an event, a venue, and you're going to end up meeting this person. You're going to be like, wow, I need that. So you buy it. It helps him, right? It's a win-win. So for business, in this book, it states like, if you want to be rich, you have to have win-win for everybody. So all my companies I do is a win-win, meaning my commercial company, I source products, I find the best and the most efficient and the best price, and I'm the best price and for transport and installation setup, and I do my best, right? Same with the other one I started in 2019 for the individuals. They can't get this stuff cheap. A gallon or 4 liters of milk up there in the Arctic is like 15 to 20 bucks. And we're crying down here when it's at like, it's $8. It's a lot more up there. But yet, they could buy cereal and all that from down here, which is really cheap. And we could ship it to them, which is cheap and still cheaper than buying it up there. But it's a win-win for everybody. So there's no competition. You got to win-win. When you have employees, you can't be like, and if you are an employee, you can't be like, this person owes me, blah, 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 I work so hard. And if you're that person, you're the victim mentality and all that, no, chances are you're slacking and you're not doing your weight, pulling your weight. I'm sorry to say, you're a douche if you're playing the victim card on everything you do. Like, I don't understand the mentality of like, oh, this company's making millions and I'm going to rip them off or they owe me more. I would love to see you do what they do. Like, yeah, you're probably thinking you're biased because you own your own little company. Just to keep this door open, I need over $10,000 a month. That's just to break even, not even with employees or nothing. That's just rent and hydro and fuel and stuff. Minimum $10,000, which is nothing. All these big companies you're talking about are hundreds and thousands, $200,000-$300,000 a month just to keep the doors open. So yeah, they might be making all this money in sales, but after all expenses, they have enough to keep afloat. And when it's hard times, they have enough to keep it afloat. And yeah, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of companies out there that are doing the whole let's rip everybody off as much as we can and make them work for as little as we can, blah, blah, blah. But you also have to understand the whole economics of the whole world. Okay, I'm not going to get into that right now. I'm back with a lot of attraction. Okay, calm down. But everything in the world has abundance. If there's a lack, it's your fault. And I take blame for my company if it's slowing down or if it's lack or if I feel like I'm not going to, I got to work harder, I got to do this, I got to budget better, blah, blah, blah. It's my fault because when the times were good, I was bitching, moaning, like, oh, I was so busy, oh, poor me. And I was playing the victim, like, screw that. Be happy with what you have. Because where you are and where you're going to be is either your choice if you're going to be better off or if you're going to be worse off. So if you're the victim mentality, you're going to be nowhere, if not less, like worse off. I know so many people in my life that are just like, poor me, I could never be rich. Oh, you're only rich because of opportunity. I came from nothing and I created my wealth because I decided to. That's all there is to it. I chose to start being successful. And as you heard in my podcast many times, that how before, like subconsciously, I would sabotage myself with money and I'll never have money, blah, blah, blah. Well, now I know the language of money, the energy of money and how it works and how it flows. And it all comes down to you and what you believe in your heart and what your energies you're putting out there. So if you're putting out lack, well, change it. Oh, how do I change it, Mike? If you were listening to my podcasts, you would have started reading these certain books. Like the one book, How to Break the Habit of Being Yourself. That was the main book that I started with by Dr. Joe Dispenza. Then after that, I read a book called The Surrender Experiment by Michael A. Singer. And I was like, that's true. Just got to learn to surrender when things are happening and go with it, and things will happen amazingly. If I did not surrender when I met my wife back in the day, like 18 years ago now, I probably would have sabotaged that. But I realized, and I was like, oh, and everything happened in such a way where I was like, wow, yeah, this is meant to be. This is amazing, right? Just with my new company I started in 2019, the new brand. If I did not surrender and I listened to everybody telling me, no, you're stupid, this, that, I would not be anywhere. I could choose success and I could choose failure. But I choose to have success. I choose that there's no lack, that there's abundance for everybody around me. And in this book, it states that you cannot go around telling people what they're not ready to hear. And it's true, because I was talking to somebody, like, hey, somebody I know very well. I was explaining to them, and, they make good money, but they always have no money. And they always say, oh, I'm poor, I can't afford this. Oh, I can't afford this. Oh, I'm poor, I can't do this. I can't do this. And, I was just explaining some of the new things I learned because the one person was like, hey, tell me some things you learned lately. It's been a while since we hung out and talked. So I was just talking about the book I read and blah, blah, blah. And in the book, it says, like, you could go blue in the face telling people what to do and how to make money and how to get out of their situation, how to better themselves and blah, blah, blah. But if they're not ready, too bad, so sad. And it's true. Like, when I was in religion, I was like, well, my religion's the best. Everybody else is wrong. Poor them. Because my religion told me I'm the rightest and I'm the bestest, right? I know they're not real words, just but yeah, and I felt bad for everybody else. And I'm like, I know everything and they know nothing, blah, 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 right? And I would like try to tell everybody, come join me, join our religion. Ours is the best. Yours isn't good. Yours is of the devil, right? Or whatever. But if they're not ready to hear, they were not ready to hear and stuff. And I realized, like, yes, it's true. There's people that are victim mentality, and there'll always be. But in this book, it also states that just live these simple rules, right? Rule number 1, live in abundance. Don't allow lack. If you feel lack or negativity, push it out and say, I live in abundance. I listen to this book often. I listened to it 4 or 5 times already. It's like 4 hours long on Audible. And I believe it was free, like the one I got. And stuff like that. But anyways, yeah, when I give you the name, you can look it up. I'm holding on so you listen longer. You're going to be like, just tell me the name, Mike, so I can stop listening to your podcast. Well, no, you need to listen to my podcast because it's uplifting, and this will change your life. Because these are my experiences. These are my realities, my truths. This is what I'm going through. This is what I'm learning. And I feel the lack every day trying to push down on me. And I got to ignore it and be like, no, there's abundance, right? There's slow times in my companies where I'm like, okay, I got to keep up. I got to have all this money to pay for everything, even though we're not bringing in as much, right? And I'm thinking there's lack, but no. So here's a story in the book. In the book, he uses some examples. And one example is a guy who's like, I want to own my own house, but he was barely making ends meet. He was working for like minimum wage or less, doesn't have that much money. And he was renting, and the rent was really like living paycheck to paycheck, barely breaking even. Like where most people feels like, right? Well, we're poor. We just, as soon as I pay rent and buy a little bit of food, that's all we have. We're done, right? So he was living in lack. And then he met this guy, and he was listening to him and his book and stuff, and then they were talking, and then the guy's like, okay, well, I want a new carpet. So he says, I want a new carpet. There is abundance in the world, right? I want a new carpet and grace and happiness and love. I want a carpet. So that's what he lived and put in the world, and law of attraction, it was his thought, and then it becoming action, and then before you know it, there's ways where he ended up getting more hours at work. He could afford the carpet now. And he worked, right? Oh, you saying I have to work, Mike, to make millions and make money? Do I buy my carpet? Yeah. But he had the opportunities, and he went with the flow. He surrendered and listened and said, oh, I'm getting more hours. Instead of bitching and moaning, oh, I got more hours. I deserve not to work. Well, if you're not making ends meet, you got to work your butt off to make ends meet. And this guy's like, oh, I got an extra 2 shifts. Boom, now he made enough money for the carpet. And he's like, well, if I could do that with the carpet, let's go bigger. And then he fast forward to like half a year. He owns the house, and now he's going through the house. So he's managed to make enough hours, and he had side jobs and other opportunities come his way, where he was making more money. Like he worked, but he also had other opportunities, made him a lot of money, that he was able to buy the house in 6 months. Now he owns the house. And now he's going through the house going, I need a new stove. I need a new this. I need a new that. And he was just manifesting it, and opportunities came, and he grasped them and took them with love and, in grace and happiness and in love and in joy. He accepted it because the universe wants us to be happy. And if you live the mindset that like most people do, or not most people, but most people in the spirituality world, as they call it, or in the Hakuna Matata world, or dirty hippies, as people call us sometimes. But no, if you're living in that mentality of I create my reality, because think about it. Everything you believe, everything you come to know and understand is from information and knowledge that you are gathering, either from books, listening to people. And I'm not saying if it's right or wrong, but that creates your reality, your belief system. So therefore, you are, for lack of a better word, the God of your reality, the creator of your reality. Because everything you believe, if you accept it or not, if you're like, oh, I accept this, Mike, what you're saying is crazy, you're stupid, I don't accept it. So this is your reality. Good. Like we're on the same page here. I just want people to understand that you are the creator of abundance, or the creator of lack or non-abundance or of emptiness. You're the creator of love, or you're the creator of hate. You could say, well, no, that person's bad energy made me bad, or this person slapped me in the face today and pissed me off, and now I'm mad, and I'm going to go slap this person in the face and just make a big thing, right? Yeah, you chose to make it a big thing, to, oh, wow, and then whatever, right? Like, Everything comes down to a decision that you make every second of every day. Are you going to wake up pissed off, or are you going to wake up happy? Do you wake up and say, I need a cup of joe, I need my coffee, or I'm going to be unbearable to be with, or I need my cigarette, or I'm going to be unbearable, or I need this, and I need my routine, or you're going to hate me? That's your reality, and you created that. It's not because you're like, oh yeah, I'm addicted, there's nothing I can do about it. It's the world, they made me do this. No, you chose. Take responsibility. And once you understand that, the world is yours. You have the cheat codes. You have the hack. You have the ability to create anything you want. So say it with me. Everybody, just say it with me. Say, I choose the reality and the beliefs I have based on the information I receive. If you want to say it that way, say it that way. Say, I am responsible for everything in my life. Take responsibility. Say your name, so I'm Mike. Take responsibility for all my actions and for everything I have in my life. And I choose abundance in my life. And I choose wealth. I choose success. And I choose happiness. And I choose joy. And shun, I'm using big words today. Shun, push away. Don't listen to the people that are all, bringing you down, as you say. Like, oh, it's these people that I hang out with. Well, you chose to hang out with those people, so it's your fault, right? So choose abundance, choose joy, choose love, choose happiness, right? And just know that, well, see, here's one thing that just hit me. Everybody says you have to go through the hard times for the good times. I don't believe you have to. I'm telling you, you do not have to go through hard times and life-threatening trials or whatever. You might appreciate what you have more if you have a near-death experience. You might appreciate more things that you lost. And then you're like, oh, no, I'll never get it back. So you never will. I'm tired of hearing people talking about how, I know people that are making like $30, $40 an hour that are like, we're so poor. Poor me. Please, Mike, give me stuff for free. And I'm like, wow, on paper, on your tax returns, you have a lot more money than I do. Like disposable cash. I have all this stuff I got to keep going. I got other people. I got my employees' lives, their families in my hands. I got to make money to support multiple families, not just my family, but my family, my employees' families, right? Contractors that I hire that depend on my company, right? Suppliers that are like, wow, you're our biggest customer. Like, we need you. Without you, we would be bankrupt. Like, I have all this responsibility. But you're sitting here crying, poor you, when you have guaranteed income and you work for whatever. Like, I know people that work for the government that make a crap ton of money and they're still like the victim. Oh, poor me. And I understand it, okay? I've been there where I was like making $22, $25 an hour 20 years ago before I started going with my own thing. And that was a lot of money back then. Nowadays, that's probably like 50, 60 an hour. But yet, I had no money. And one of my friends, she was making minimum wage, and back then it was $7.25 an hour. And she had her own apartment. She had a car. I lived at home. And I paid a little bit of rent, $300, $400 of rent to my parents. Just, hey, I'm making a lot of money. Here you go. Because, that's the rule. If I'm not going to university, not saving for a house or whatnot, then, pay a little bit to stay in the house. It helps the family. So I was like, I choose to help the family instead of moving out on my own because it's helping me too. It's a win-win. I save money, they make money, and it's a win-win. But yet I had an attitude of lack, of poor me. I'm poor. I'm always going to be poor because the rich get rich and the poor get poor. That's the way it is, right? That's the way we're taught. That's the way we're programmed. That's the way we see it in movies, social media, blah, 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 right? Everywhere. Even my own parents were telling me that. because that's the way it was. But it's not true. If that's your reality, then it is. But I chose not to let that in my reality. I was making crap ton of money when I was younger, as a young adult. When I first started my company, I was making tons of money. But I always put myself in situations where there's lack, so then there's opportunity, and for me to lose a lot of money. So I take responsibility. I'm testifying right now from my podcast studio, but I am responsible for my actions, for my life, for my wealth, for my abundance, and all that. I choose abundance. I choose love. I choose happiness. I choose an amazing experience in this reality. There is no lack in my reality. There's only abundance and joy and happiness. And I know you're thinking, it's so hard, Mike. You don't understand me. It's hard for me. I blah, blah, blah. Well, with that attitude, yeah. It is hard for you because you choose to make it hard for yourself by thinking that it is. So therefore you're creating. Because as we discussed at the beginning of this podcast, and we all agree on it, everything in this world starts as a thought before it becomes an action. Even if I'm like, I'm going to go beat the crap out of this guy because he ripped me off. Well, it started as a thought. And then if I turned it into an action, well, I got to live by the consequences of my actions. And that's what people do not take responsibility for. Okay? Stop listening to the mainstream media. Stop listening to all the stuff. Everything is programmed to keep you dumb, keep you down, keep you poor in the way of thinking, because that is the reality of our world. Everything is a thought before it becomes reality or an action. So therefore, if you're saying, well, poor me, I'm always going to be poor no matter how hard I work, fine, you'll be poor. You're going to live paycheck to paycheck. You're going to choose your struggles. Right? You see it in all mainstream, everything. Mainstream, celebrities. Oh, I was poor. I came from nothing. And then I worked and tried and I didn't believe. And then I became something, right? But it doesn't have to be hard if you don't want it to be hard. Life is what you make it. You are the creator. I cannot say that as often enough. You need to look at yourself and say, I am creator. I am responsible for my actions. I create my reality and choose abundance. You can sit there and listen to I ams if you want. And if you don't know what I ams are positive affirmations that program you to believe and understand that, yes. And I've seen in many movies where you see like these people down on their luck poor and those I ams to make them look stupid and all that. But it's true. It does help if you wanted to. And I ams are amazing. It just like nice music, soft voice, and goes, I am successful. I am abundant. You deserve wealth. And, it goes on and on and on. But I digress. The book that I've been talking about this whole time is written by Wallace D. Watler. Anyways, it's called The Science of Getting Rich. Okay? Look it up on Audible. It's called The Science of Getting Rich. And I downloaded it for free. I didn't even use a credit to get the original. But you can, like I said, there's other versions because he also has one called the trilogy. And it was like $12 or one credit or whatever. It's called The Science of Getting Rich. And his other book called The Science of Being Well and The Science of Being Great. And I just love how simple. And this was written in 1910, the first book anyways. I didn't listen to the other ones yet. That's in an original form. And it could do you wonders. And there's another book I was listening to, which it has a lot in it. I'll talk more about it. Is The Game of Life and How to Play It. There's some things I don't agree in the book. I listened to almost all of it, actually. There's only 46 minutes left. No.
Build his body or rebuild his affairs.
I listened to it at 1.5 speed. Oh, no, there's lots of time left. I got like 2 hours left. Anyways, sorry about that. But Yeah, that book is good too. The Game of Life and How to Play It. It's very interesting. And you got to understand, like when I read books or listen to things, I only listen and understand and the things that like vibe with my soul, that I feel it like, yes, this is what vibes with me. And there's things that I'm like, nah. And at this moment, it's probably not right for me to listen to. And I could listen to a book like 5-10 times or read a book multiple times. And then things that I was like, are now like, oh, I understand now. So you have to listen to these books and more than once. Can't just be like, okay, I listened to it, Mike. Now I'm a rich man. Listen to it more than once. It even says listen to it often, daily, if you can, and it will change your life because he's simple form. And I'm going to talk more about these books, both of them, as we get into it. I'm also bringing in a friend. I talked about him many times, how he was with me at the casinos when I did my first experiment called the real experiment with using the law of attraction. And he saw me start using the law of attraction and stuff like that to get what I want. And he still thinks it's luck. So I'm going to bring him in studio and see if he wants to talk on our next episode. So a lot of fun things are coming. I'm going to do my best. Please share this podcast with everybody you know. Let's get it back to where it was, where I was getting over, thousands of hits per episode so I can monetize it and be able to have more time to continue more and more and bring more guests and be able to travel to get more guests in here and talk to more people and just learn more about this stuff and share it with the world. And it doesn't cost you anything to listen. So listen for free. Why not? It's amazing. I'm here to answer any questions. So if you want, you can write me at lifechangersmike. That's all one word, lifechangersmike@gmail.com. And I'll answer questions on the studio. And if you want me to reach back to you and maybe have an interview with you and you want to tell your story, that's what we're here for. Like, I want to reach people. I want people to tell their story and how amazing life is. But just remember, like, out of all these episodes, I keep on coming back to it, but you are the creator, the God of your reality, whatever you want to call it. And you're going to be saying, some people out there I even know, some people I know very well growing up are going to be like, no, there's only one God. I'm not a God. But like, just understand what I'm saying. I'm not saying you're the God of the universe and you could do whatever. You are the gatekeeper of your reality. You are the God of your reality. You choose what's real and what's not to you. There's people that choose that, there's God and Satan, and there's some people that choose not to. It doesn't matter. What matters is what you believe to be real is real to you. And everything starts as a thought before it becomes reality. So are you going to live in lack? Or are you going to choose to live in abundance? Say it again with me. I choose to live in abundance. I choose to live in happiness. I choose to have love or be loved because I deserve it. Everybody deserves wealth. Everybody deserves success. Everybody deserves happiness and joy and love. Are you going to reach for it? Are you going to take it? It's free. Or are you just going to be like, nah, it's impossible. Moving on to the next book. Thanks, Mike. I can't wait for your next episode. I mean, yeah, thanks for listening. But if you're not going to actually try to experience or experiment or with things that I'm talking about, cool. Like, it's cool, but I mean, thanks for listening. But I wish you would try an experiment. Like, try something. Look at something that you want. Keep it simple if you want. And say, that's what I want to see, or that's what I want to happen, or this is what I want to have. Start it with a thought. Now believe it. That's going to happen. And as the opportunities come, before you know it, you'll have it. There's many, many stories where people are like, I choose, okay, I got my business. My business is doing great. I want, my business to make $2.5 million in grace and happiness and in love and in joy. And it happens where contracts come, unexplainable things happen. And these people are grateful. You have to, okay? This is a big thing. You have to be grateful. Live in gratitude, joy, and happiness. You can't be like, oh yeah, 2.5 million and be a pompous butthole after and not be grateful for the universe for doing, well, I made this money. I worked hard. I did this. Me. Easy come, easy go. But live in happiness and joy, and everything will be yours. Live in happiness and joy. You deserve it. You deserve to be rich. You deserve to have everything you want. That's good for you and for the world. Make it a win-win situation for everybody. Nothing has to be competition. Your company, if you're starting a company, doesn't have to be competition. If you have a company and you're like, well, why are we so like, oh, I realize why I'm not number one for the reshipping or company or whatever, or for what I'm doing, because I put so much lack in there. I'm always like, well, poor me, I'm a victim. There's so many corruptions everywhere. There's people that will like buy contracts, and that's illegal, so I'm not going to buy contracts. But that's the way it's going to be. I'm always going to be less on the totem pole. No, I choose to be number one. My company is amazing. My company is saving people hundreds of thousands. We probably, over the last 4 years, saved people millions of dollars that they would have spent, like out of all our customers combined, commercial, non-commercial, like residents and all that. And the products we offer and the services we offer saved people millions. And I'm happy to do that. And we created lots of jobs throughout the pandemic, or the pandemic in Canada. Inadvertently, in the sense of like, we started shipping thousands of packages, hundreds a day, and they needed more transport trucks on the road to handle these. They needed more employees to process these in our areas. I'm grateful that I was able to do all that, and I'm grateful to continue to grow my company so that we can continue having win-win situations where we're able to hire people, pay people what they're like, an amazing salary, better than minimum wage, pay people what they're worth for working, and have good and happy, wholesome employees that just love life, love working, and the services we offer our customers, and saving them a lot of money and bringing them stuff they can normally not get. And I'm grateful to do that. I appreciate everybody who's listening to my podcasts. I appreciate the universe and everything. And I appreciate all the abundance that I have. I appreciate each and every individual that listens to me, and everybody that's my customers, that you might be one of my customers and not even realize it. That's why I kind of keep my businesses like names incognito and stuff like that. I'm not here to promote my companies. I'm here to promote the law of attraction and how you choose your destiny, and how you control your life, and how you control everything in your beliefs and your world. And it's up to you to decide what you want. What do you want? Do you want happiness, success, or do you want to just continue living in the rat race that you're programmed to live to? I say choose happiness and success once and for all. Stop dreaming. Get off your ass and do it. Once again, this is Mike with Life Changers. I appreciate you and love you. Enjoy life. Let's be happy together. Let's continue growing and making good things happen in this world where everybody's happy, and everything that we do benefits everybody as well as ourselves. Thank you for listening. You are awesome. You are loved. You are appreciated. Later.